Well, it is a pleasure to be here with you guys today. My name is Tim Ward, and I have the privilege of welcoming our featured speaker today. But before I get into that, I do want to acknowledge the members of our panel discussion around the table here today and give each of you just a brief moment to introduce yourselves. So let me start with Miss Heather Schulte.
Hi, I'm Heather Schulte. I am with Coldwell Banker, Gundecker, and Town & Country, and I am a residential buyers and sellers agent.
Great. Next, we have Alex Hoover.
Yep, I'm Alex Hoover. I lead the Legends Financial Services risk mitigation business, including life insurance and disability insurance. In my business, we help families and business owners protect their lives and legacies by taking them through our Lead for Life consultation process.
Thank you, Alex. And now Patricia Hughes.
Hi, I'm Patricia Hughes with E+ Marketing. We're a digital marketing company. That basically means that we do websites, social media, and really anything attached to the internet.
And Kyle Gibson.
Hi, I'm Kyle Gibson with Gershman Mortgage. I am a residential mortgage lender. I'm helping families navigate the mortgage process. I do work with the top 30 investors in the market to ensure that we have access to provide families with the best products and rates available to meet their needs.
Kyle, thanks so much. And to round things out, as I mentioned, my name is Tim Ward. I am the owner of Legends Financial Services Group, and we really help people pursue what I call a life of significance. First, by growing their wealth, but also helping them retire with confidence, and along that path, guiding them to do good for others if they're so financially inclined. So as you can see, our panel here today is comprised of a great group of leaders in their fields respectively. And we've thoughtfully named our collaboration here the Wealth Builders team, which we like because we feel that connotation supports the goals we have, not just for one another, but for the families that we serve. And so it's our plan to regularly host interviews like this and make them available through our social media platforms, websites, etc. But while we were exploring some initial topics of interest that would benefit our clients directly, one seemed to continuously rise to the top, not because it's the trending topic currently, but instead it's long been the hushed topic that too many of us personally want to avoid, and we see our clients avoid as well, which is aging and aging with a plan. So with that, I couldn't be happier than to have our guest today, Melanie Maynard, the founder of a company called Aging Gracefully. Melanie is not just a dynamic leader in her field, but she's honestly a comforting soul to her clients and to us as her colleagues. She's earned a master's degree from Washington University in social work, and she also has significant advanced education that not only supports the knowledge she has in her industry, but honestly just the genuine care that she gives to others. So I know our panel here has a number of questions, and I won't add much more. But in my personal experience, just working alongside Melanie with my own clients, she is exactly the person one might want to engage to successfully prepare for what feels like the great unknown. So above that, she really does help reduce the stress that's tied to that level of uncertainty that comes with what's next in the aging process. So since we aren't getting any younger, I'm going to turn it over to Alex Hoover. Alex, I know you're going to start us off. You've got a question that you'd like to share and ask of Melanie.
Yeah, first off, thank you, Melanie, for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I think just to get it started, I mean, in our business, we are working to help, clients every single day with their financial goals and taking care of their family and their businesses after death. But oftentimes the most important thing is actually the aging transitions and the things that come up with that. And then addressing, that situation while they're still here with us. So my question for you is, how do we help them along with those transitions? And then how do we address the situation before the client even knows that they need to?
Sure. I mean, I think of it a lot like you think about finances, probably. I think of it as more like a health and relational legacy. What do you want that to be? And it's easier to talk about your finances when you're thinking in the future, right? You're not in the moment right now, how I'm going to pay for this. So it's a lot easier to talk about your health legacy, what decisions you might want in advance before you, what I say, have a fire, before something's already happening that you have to deal with in the moment. So just thinking about those things ahead of time, naming them, talking about what's important to you, talking about what your goals are for yourself as you age. And I think having those conversations just like you do about your finances just in advance.
Yeah, I think that's extremely helpful. I think and having you to be able to kind of have those conversations in advance is so important. It's easier for us sometimes because people look at that as so far out into the future. But the things that you're helping clients through are happening right now, and people really need that. So thanks a lot for the answer. And I think that's very helpful for a lot of people. So.
Sure.
Next, we have a question from Patricia Hughes.
Hi, Melanie. I have a question about the aging process. The aging process is just difficult and hard, not just for the people going through it, but the family members. And it can be scary. They lose abilities and things like that. So how can you maintain the quality of life as well as the dignity?
Yeah, well, I do think it's really important to have an advocate that is looking out for those things, continually advocating for somebody if they're no longer able to advocate for themselves. But I mean, again, like we were just saying, planning ahead gives you more options. You have more say when you're not responding in a crisis. So I think as much as you can plan ahead to put those things in place, just preparedness gives you the most dignity and the most ability to speak into the situation in advance.
So your company provides that advocate.
Yes, we will be an advocate for you if you don't have someone else to do that. We will also work alongside families because you kind of have to learn how to be an advocate. I say a lot, even though I advocate for a living, if my child is the one in the emergency room, my head isn't in the game, right? I'm emotionally invested. So it's often, I think, helpful for families to have someone that is an impartial party. It's not my mom or dad. So I'm able to be a little bit more level-headed as we move through the system and make decisions.
Thanks, that's really helpful.
Sure.
Very good question. I know Kyle Gibson, you have a question for Melanie as well.
Yeah, thanks Melanie for joining us today. My question is related to, me specifically on the mortgage side. I'm helping families navigate the mortgage process, but I also want to help them make sure that they're preparing for items outside of just their housing. What are some of those items that I can help have conversations with to help families make great decisions while they're in the right state of mind?
Sure. One of the things that we do is do an assessment recommendations for families. And when we do that, we're looking at several different areas. So are you prepared financially? Have you spoken with your financial advisor? Do you have somebody, do you know what you have to spend on your care in advance? Also knowing if you're going to do you're going to need to tap into resources like veterans benefits, all of those sorts of things, figuring out what might be available to you as you age. Looking at legally, do you have your legal paperwork in order? Has it been updated within the last 5 years? It's always really important. Looking at your housing, is your housing going to work for you as you age? Do you want to stay at home? Do we need to make some adjustments to your housing to make it more accessible as you kind of move through the aging process? Just identifying what you have going on medically, making sure that somebody is aware of all that information and has access to it if they need to respond to something as it comes up.
Awesome. Perfect. Thank you.
Turning things over to Heather Schulte.
Hi, Melanie. As a real estate agent, how do I have conversations with family members who are needing to explore housing options in these sensitive, complex family relationships?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think in all of these things, they're really loaded, right? It's stressful. And oftentimes family members and siblings haven't had to work on something together in a really long time. And we also have more and more blended families, which maybe they're coming at things differently. So I think having somebody that can kind of talk to you about what all the options are, if you want to stay at home, if you need to kind of have a hybrid option before you move out of the home, looking at what all those choices are and just facilitating conversation with families and understanding that it is emotional. And so sometimes it takes a little while before families are really able to make a move forward. We do have a lot of contacts like you do to help families do the nitty gritty of, making moves, senior movers, getting the house ready, that kind of stuff. So it's good that we can work with professionals like you to get those things taken care of.
Thank you.
I have a question for you as well, Melanie, and it's oftentimes a challenge to ensure that maybe a spouse and a partner move down the advanced care together in a way that provides them a quality of life but does not separate them. That has to kind of be a familiar territory for you. Is that something that you're used to navigating as well?
Totally. Very rarely do people age at the same rate with this, So that is something that we're always talking about with families. And, I think it's good to have an advocate that understands what all the options could be and different scenarios. I think that's also, it's important to think about that in advance. That's what I'm talking about with pre-planning. If you have a goal that you want to stay together, then we need to talk about what are our options that keep us together. Now, we can do a whole lot at home now that we used to not be able to do. So I think a lot of it is just being prepared and talking through things with families and figuring out what is important and how are we gonna keep them as connected as we possibly can.
That's a very kind of comforting answer. And we all have family members, especially that we're thinking of, as well as clients. But you provide a tremendous amount of resources for people. I know that your website, which is aginggracefully-stl.com, kind of has some initial steps for how we come into contact with you. Also welcoming anybody who's visiting this interview today to reach out to us directly as a resource. But what might be kind of an expectation of the first step if I need to address some of these issues with you as a prospective client?
Sure. I like it when people call in and we just talk about what they have going on, what they might need. And if they don't need care management, we'll refer them to someone else for sure. But, we usually set up a free meet and greet where we sit down with families in their home and talk about what they have going on and then make some recommendations about how we might be able to come alongside them. So I recommend having a meet and greet if you're just wanting to explore how this could be helpful. I think it's nice to have the experience of having a social worker sit in your home, helping you solve some of those problems just to see what it would feel like. We want to be highly personal, highly relational. So we want it to be a really good fit for you and be comfortable as you make all these decisions.
Is there too young an age to start thinking about aging?
Well, am I old?
Don't ask.
I do think that COVID has really brought some of this to the forefront. And I think you also just see that suddenly people need advocates that we wouldn't have expected to need advocates. So it's really important, I think, to have these conversations when you're not in crisis, so that if you have something like an unexpected illness, that someone can advocate for you and they know what you want and what's important to you.
Well, that fits hand in hand, I'm sure, with what most of us do on a daily basis. And I love that comment of trying to do this planning when not in crisis is the biggest opportunity we all have. I'll open it up to the panel to see if there are any additional questions. All of your questions were excellent. Thank you guys for thinking through that. But any questions that you would like to expand upon? Well, I want to thank Melanie again, aginggracefully-stl.com, for giving us at least what I'd call the first stepping stone towards helping people in our community, helping people in our family, certainly helping clients as well towards having the life that they really are seeking to have all the way till the end. But Melanie helps us really create a clear vision just to help us plan and anticipate what's likely to come down that path. And you've done an excellent job. We're really appreciative of you being here with us today. And we hope that you continue to just bring tremendous joy to a lot of people. And we look forward to introducing you to many of those folks.
Thanks for having me. I'm happy to help.
Awesome. All right. Well, till next time, we look forward to seeing everybody again. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.